World's quarterfinals are over. We're going to break down all the games in their insane, clutch, heartbreaking glory as 4 more teams bowed out of the tournament. Here's how it all went down.
Before we hop into today's episode, I want to thank our sponsor, Opera GX, and their brand new feature, Riot Corner. Opera GX is an official sponsor of Worlds 2024, and they're kicking off Worlds with some sweet new in-browser features. In Riot Corner, you'll get access to a schedule of all the matches, a co-streaming hub to jump in and watch, and limited time drops exclusive to GX users at lolesports.com. I can't stress this enough, guys. This is a one-stop shop for absolutely everything you need to keep up with Worlds, baked right into an already awesome gaming browser. So go download Opera GX right now via the link in the description below. Using that link, your browser will download with the official mods, and you'll have access to Riot Corner as soon as you hop in the browser. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring our exclusive World show, The Last Hit, and supercharging our coverage this year. Now, let's get back into today's video.
On Thursday, the LPL showdown between Weibo and LNG started bloody in Game 1 and never really stopped. The mid-game swung in the balance as Tarzan and Breathe running rampant was matched at every corner by Zika's Renekton. After Weibo cracked LNG's base, they were chased down by LNG, but Weibo turned to fight, took a clean 4-for-1 and ended soon after. LNG were able to get ahead early in Game 2 off the back of Zika's Jax, but Weibo held their own in team fights and at 32 minutes were able to swing the game in their favor with a huge Baron fight, but 10 minutes later LNG had clawed back their gold lead and wiped Weibo at Elder to tie up the series. Game 3 started off once again with a 4v4 level 1 fight in which once again Zika's Jax picked up a couple of early kills, but it was a massive shockwave from Xiaohu that put Weibo ahead. But from that point on, the game honestly felt like LNG versus Xiaohu. LNG crept ahead in gold, cracked Weibo's base, but just before 37 minutes, Xiaohu's 7-0-5 Orianna managed to stay alive in a Baron teamfight and deliver Weibo to series points. Weibo carried that momentum into Game 4, where a fight just before 7 minutes saw them pick up 2 kills and 2 grubs against a slightly sus full AD comp from LNG, and Weibo's gold lead became very evident after convincingly winning a 4v5 teamfight at 17 minutes. A decent Yone performance from Scout could only keep LNG in it for so long, and they eventually lost the game and series to an imperious Weibo. Friday's battle of the first seeds between Hanwha and BLG exploded in Game 1 at 11 minutes with a grub fight that delivered Hanwha 4 kills, and although BLG kept things extremely close with their picks, it was Hanwha who won the team fights that mattered, and with Viper making Ezreal Qs look easy, Hanwha soon took first blood in the series. Doran's Gnar had a horror start in Game 2 with 2 deaths and just 24 CS by 6 minutes 20. Hanwha took 17 minutes to get their first kill, but was still somehow able to win team fights going into the mid game, but Bing's Rumble and Knight's Yone proved far too much to handle, and BLG evened up the series before 27 minutes. It was Bin and Knight again who looked head and shoulders above the rest in Game 2, with Hanwha repeatedly crushed between their Gnar and Sylas. Knight showed the world why a Sylas with an Ahri ult should be a reportable offense, and BLG took the series lead without ever really breaking into a sweat. Game 4 was a banger. It took almost 20 minutes to get more than 2 kills on the board, but the fight for the third dragon was a carnage, resulting in a 4-for-1 for BLG and a triple kill for Elk's Kai'Sa. A bizarre Baron fight saw Hanwha Life start it, then Jun's Kindred keep it alive to flip before BLG got blown up and Hanwha took it anyway. We had a mid-game fight with 2 Galio ults, 1 real, 1 stolen, as well as perhaps the closest team fight of the tournament in which both teams almost wiped before at 40 minutes BLG ignored Hanwha, took their Nexus and booked themselves a spot in the semi-finals. Saturday's series between world champions T1 and the LPL's top esports saw Zeus pull off a disappearing act that would make Houdini blush. It was a macro push and pull until just before 28 minutes, where a stolen Rumble ult opened up the team fight for Gumayusi's Caitlyn and Top's base for T1, who were able to end the game 4 minutes later. Faker got ahead ahead early on one of his signature champions in Game 2, and T1 were able to take a commanding lead after a 30-minute Baron fight, which spelled Top's doom as they fell soon after. A disastrous early turret dive into Zeus' Meganar felt like Top were getting desperate in the series. T1 secured a 5k gold lead before 15 minutes and pulled off a trademark Baron burn at 26 minutes, and although Top made the gold lead look smaller than it was at times, T1 eventually deleted them in a blink and you'll miss it moment to take the world champions one step closer to defending their title. FlyQuest surprised everyone in their underdog game versus Gen G by winning the early grub fight and continually out-teamfighting the MSI champions at every opportunity. Although Gen G stabilized somewhat, a crushing teamfight from FlyQuest at 30 minutes gave them the chance to take Game 1 against all the odds. It felt like normal service had resumed in Game 2, with Fly's plays never quite working out. Pace started gliding with Ashe in the mid-game, Canyon looked like that Nidalee that's always on the enemy team, and by 26 minutes, all Fly could do was watch their Nexus fall. In Game 3, Fly's bot lane pounced on a Gen G overstep in the bot lane to pick up 2 kills early, and a crucial teamfight bait at 26 minutes gave Fly the edge they were looking for. Massey continued to have the game of his life on Kai'Sa before Quad said, "Hold my Quadra," in the game-winning teamfight that put Fly on series points. With their backs against the wall in Game 3, Gen G took a 4k gold lead before 20 minutes through constant picks and Canyon being back on Nidalee. FlyQuest never really looked in the game after that, and by 28 minutes, all of Gen G was stat padding as they ran down the Nexus to initiate Silver Scrapes. A completely deathless Game 5 at almost 17 minutes finally ended with an explosive bot dive, netting Chovy Smolder first blood. Inspired Fiddle Pick got them a kill, dragon, and turret, but what looked like a 4D Baron call for Fly at 22 minutes went full-blown Dignitas as Gen G roasted them between Rumble and Smolder Flames. Fly put up a valiant fight and a few more team fights, but the wallet diff was real by this point. Gen G could smell the semi-finals and FlyQuest bowed out. Honestly, completely heartbreaking stuff for NA or Western fans at large here. I think a lot of people went into that series expecting it to just be a standard, clean 3-0 for Gen G, but Fly not only got 2-1 up in that series, at times they looked like the better team. I think Whippo and Massey had a generational series, and it genuinely got me excited to watch them next season. Credit to Gen G though, you don't get to be as dominant as they were at MSI or domestically in the LCK over the past few years without knowing how to dig yourself out of a hole like that. Incredible series all around. I think Gen G might have just had the scare they needed to really lock in for the semi-finals. Jumping back to the T1 series, all eyes are now on the world champions who have gone from barely qualifying for the tournament to now making the final 4. Niall McCrossan was on the ground for us to take a look at the series, the meta, and to speak to support legend Keria.
All right, so back at the start of Worlds, we talked to Bin and he said this. And despite a slow start, BLG looked like one of the favorites to win the entire event, just like everyone expected from the beginning. After smashing Hanwha Life, we thought that they might be the ones to define the meta like Bin suggested, and that may still be the case, but T1's match against Top Esports in the quarterfinals was full of surprises. T1 drafted some of their favorite champions throughout the series, despite the fact that some of them are pretty off meta. We saw Zeus on Camille, and Guma and Keria were destroying TES with Caitlyn and Bard.
TES still standing, Jackie Love still standing, double lady carry, but Baker in the clutch, the arm guard, he goes Colten, he buys a moment, TN perfect timing, but it does not matter, because here comes Guma, baby, doubles coming through, T1 takeover.
The meta throughout the quarterfinals was all over the place. FlyQuest showed us that with a little creativity, they could make almost any composition work. And even after Gen G beat them, Canyon said that this meta allows you to play just about anything. But T1 in particular went on to smash TES 3-0, and we had the chance to sit down with Keria to talk about some of their unorthodox picks after the match.
일단 저희가 바텀 뱀픽을 준비하면서 일단 그런 쪽으로 준비를 하는 게 TS 상대로 승산이 있을 거라 생각했고, 그리고 오늘 같은 경우에도 이제 저희가 생각한 대로 뱀픽이 진행돼가지고 그렇게 제가 준비해온 대로 바드를 했던 것 같습니다.
Keria also blessed us with the first pike at this year's World Championship, and he put on a clinic.
The second kill plus, they can keep pushing. Another hook, Carrie's not done, Jackie Love's out of tools, going to the depth, oh, it's clean! This man plays pike! You love to see it, the ult.
일단 파이크 같은 경우에는 이번 롤드컵을 준비하면서부터 이제 자주 연습했었고 그리고 가능성을 좀 많이 봤었는데 뭔가 시간이 지나면 지날수록 메타가 정립되면서 뭔가 쓸 각이 없을 줄 알았는데 없어서 딱히 생각을 안 하고 있었는데 오늘 같은 경우에는 이제 3세트에 뭔가 파이크가 들어가야 조합의 완성도가 좀 높아진다 생각해가지고 파이크를 픽했던 것 같습니다. 즉흥적으로. 네.
It looks like T1's Worlds buff is back once again. They look terrifying, but now the question is, can they take down Gen G, the team that has always had their number? FlyQuest just proved that they're beatable, but in order to win, T1 will have to exercise some demons, and I can't wait to find out if they have it in them.
Thanks to Niall for that, and I just want to quickly highlight that in the quarterfinals, Keria had the highest KDA of any player. That guy needs studying. So are we about to see T1 take down their nemesis Gen G and book their spot in the finals? Are T1 starting to feel inevitable again, or will their domestic kryptonite shut them down? And who will they face if they get to the finals? It's not impossible that we could see a mirror matchup of the same finalists from last year with T1 versus Weibo. That will be the first time that has ever happened at Worlds. Or will BLG be able to take that spot from Weibo? The LPL first seed started out with a pretty rough 1 and 2 Swiss stage before fighting their way back and proving why everyone had hyped them up so much before the tournament by taking down the LCK's current champion. Whether BLG makes it to the grand final really now depends on which BLG shows up. I am unbelievably hyped. We had 16 teams coming into the main event and now there are just 4. I'll see you next week for another episode of The Last Hit, where we whittle that down to 2.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.